The story I'm about to tell you didn't happen to me directly, but it happened to someone very close to me, my cousin. Even though this happened a long time ago, around 7 or 8 years back, I can still remember every detail clearly. The root of this terrifying incident began with the son of my aunt. He was only a year and a half older than me. His name was Sommai, and those close to him, myself included, simply called him Mai. At the time of the incident, Sommai was about 21 years old. His house wasn't far from mine. Back then, older brother Sommai worked as an employee at a metal workshop in the town, which wasn't very far away, while I stayed home helping my mother with our mango orchard. Since our houses were close to each other, older brother Sommai often stopped by to sit and relax beside our house, where there was a bamboo platform placed under the jackfruit tree. On his days off, sometimes he came to sit and drink beer alone. Other times, he brought 2 or 3 friends along. And all of older brother Sommai's friends were well behaved, so my parents never complained. Until one day, about 3 or 4 days before the incident, older brother Sommai came with 2 of his friends and sat under the jackfruit tree drinking beer, just like always. Older brother Sommai and his friends sat drinking beer and talking since about 2 in the afternoon. Around 3 o'clock they wandered off into the large vegetable garden and came back with green mangoes and sour tamarinds, which was normal for older brother Sommai and his friends. But no one knew that older brother Sommai had done something reckless, something playful and mischievous, just like young men often do. As evening approached, older brother Sommai walked into the garden alone, leaving only his 2 friends still sitting and drinking beer, until my mother sent me to bring sour curry to the group downstairs. "Oh, older brother Sommai isn't here?" I asked. I asked his friends who were still sitting on the bamboo platform.
Huh, huh. He went to flirt with his wife in the garden.
Older brother Odd, one of older brother Sommai's friends, told me with a half-drunk, amused tone. The other 2 burst out laughing as well. At that time, I didn't think much of it, because older brother Sommai didn't even have a wife. What his friends said was probably just drunken talk. So I walked up to the house. When I reached the stairs, I saw older brother Sommai walking out from the garden, wearing only shorts, shirtless, with his shirt slung over his shoulder. He walked back to sit with his friends just like before. I heard one of older brother Sommai's friends shout loudly,
"Hey, how was it, man? Did you finish it? What that guy said or not?"
Of course I did, man. It's me we're talking about.
Sommai replied proudly, laughing in a drunken, boastful voice just as loud as theirs. Another friend laughed and said,
"You're really something, man. Daring enough to mess with that kind of thing."
I stood there listening to older brother Sommai and his group of friends talking, completely confused by what they meant. That day, older brother Sommai and his friends kept drinking beer until about 8 in the evening,
to some woman. I thought maybe he was just drunk, so I didn't pay much attention.
like that at all. Around 7 in the evening, Grandma came to our house again, this time bringing along 2 of older Brother Sommai's friends. Their expressions clearly showed deep worry. My father and mother went to talk with Grandma. Under the house, my mother asked,
What's going on, Grandma? Mai still hasn't come back?
Grandma nodded, her eyes red, her face looking like she could cry at any moment. Then she said,
I'm really worried. Here, listen to what Odd, Mai's friend, just told me.
She turned to him.
All right, Odd. Tell them what you told me just a moment ago.
Grandma turned to older brother Odd, who stood there looking uneasy, his arms crossed tightly as if the cold air had suddenly crept in. Older brother Odd glanced around nervously before he began speaking.
Last evening, when we were drinking, the 3 of us went to the back of the garden to pick green mangoes and tamarinds to eat with our beer. When we got there, we saw a cluster of banana trees at the very end of the garden. A big Tanee banana tree. We were joking around about the ghost of Nang Tanee, just for fun, not thinking anything of it because it sounded like nonsense. As we talked, we ended up mentioning the rumor about people who take a Nang Tanee ghost as a wife.
Older brother Odd swallowed hard before continuing.
Sommai said he wanted to try, taking a Tanee ghost as his wife too.
When older brother Odd reached that part, he stopped, looked left and right anxiously, and moved in closer to my father, crossing his arms even tighter. My father asked,
That's all he said? Come on, Odd, keep talking.
Older brother Odd looked like he was about to cry, his eyes sweeping around the house in all 4 directions, which was now completely dark. Then he continued.
At that moment, we didn't think anything of it at all. We teased him, dared him, asked Mai if he really had the guts. So Mai walked straight to that Tanee banana tree. He hugged it, kissed the textured trunk of the Tanee tree, and said, my wife, be my wife, older brother. We were all laughing like crazy. We never took it seriously. We just laughed at the ridiculous way Mai acted, until Cow pulled him away.
When older brother Odd finished, my mother and Grandma Yai both gasped, their hands covering their chests. My father exclaimed in shock.
Good grief.
The story didn't end there, older brother Odd continued. Later that evening, Mai went back into the garden again, back to that same Tanee tree.
My mother quickly asked.
What? What did he go back to do?
Older brother Odd glanced at older brother Cow, the other friend, who was now standing with his head lowered, silent and tense. Then he continued.
Cow said that someone once told him that if a man truly wants a Nang Tanee as his wife, he has to be brave enough to go to the Tanee tree at night and then expose himself, show his private part to the Tanee spirit.
Older brother Odd swallowed before finishing.
And this happened right around the time when Boonsuk brought sour curry down to us.
When older brother Odd finished speaking, both my mother and Grandma collapsed onto the bamboo platform, under the house, looking as if they were about to faint. After taking a deep breath, my mother scolded all 3 of them irritably, calling their actions foolish and reckless. Suddenly, Grandma stood up and tried to run into the garden. My mother and father had to hold her back. My mother turned to my father, asking for help. My father thought for a moment, and then said, I'd better go get the village chief, so we can figure out what to do. As soon as he said that, he took his motorbike and rode off into the darkness. Meanwhile, my mother, I, and older brother Sommai's friends tried to calm Grandma down, holding her tightly so she wouldn't run into the garden at this hour. Even though we were all terrified, we were certain that older brother Sommai was still somewhere at the back of the garden, even though no one knew what Mai had gone in there to do, or what exactly had happened at the back of the garden. That was the thing everyone desperately wanted to see and find out. My father had been gone for about half an hour. When he finally returned on his motorbike, leading a pickup truck driven by the village chief, But it wasn't just my father and the chief. There was another person sitting in the truck. Luang For Noi, the deputy abbot from the temple in our village.
Let's go. Invite the monk, please.
My father said to everyone, as he called for Luang For Noi. Then my father walked ahead, leading the way, with the monk following behind, and all of us walking after him, heading toward the dim back of the garden. We had only 2 flashlights. My father carried one in the front, and my mother held the one in the back. The path we walked on was a narrow raised dike lined with mango trees. On both sides were irrigation canals of the orchard. Tonight, who knew whether we were lucky or unlucky? If it was a full moon night or not. Luckily, the moonlight made it easier to see the path, but it also wasn't good, because that pale glow made the leaves and trees look ghostly white, strange, eerie, and unsettling. Even though the distance from the house to the back of the garden wasn't far this time, it felt incredibly long. At last, we reached the destination, the back of the garden, right in front of the Tanee banana tree. And the sight all of us wanted to know, wanted to see, was now right before our eyes. Under the soft moonlight that spread across the entire garden, the Tanee banana tree looked as if it had grown larger and taller, so tall that all of us had to tilt our heads back to look at it. Its pale brightness made it look frightening, sending chills down my entire body, until I instinctively moved closer and held on to my mother. The sound of the wind rustling through the leaves, the banana fronds swaying as if they were alive, and the faint, sweet fragrance drifting around us only made everything feel even more eerie, more terrifying.
Where is Mai? Why don't I see him anywhere? Where is my son, Luang For?
Grandma cried out in worry, and it was true. All of us standing together there could not see older Brother Sommai anywhere. There was only the tall Tanee banana tree, standing prominently before us, surrounded by short thatch grass. That wasn't even as high as a palm. My parents kept it trimmed regularly. Under the moonlight shining down, mixed with a thin layer of mist, I still couldn't see older Brother Sommai's body at all.
All right, everyone. Put your hands together and repeat after me.
Luang For Noi said softly, but clearly with every word. All of us standing there raised our hands in prayer and chanted along with him. I later learned from my mother that it was a chant of loving kindness. When the chanting ended, Luang For Noi spoke again.
There's Sommai, lying at the base of that banana tree.
Just as Luang For Noi said, the spot at the base of the Tanee banana tree, which moments ago had no sign of older Brother Sommai, now revealed his body clearly. The thin mist had faded, and older Brother Sommai's naked body was lying on his back, completely exposed, without a single piece of clothing on him. Grandma rushed toward older Brother Sommai's body, but stopped abruptly, because suddenly, older Brother Sommai, who had been lying still, sat up and stood. His face was dark and tense with anger. He shouted furiously,
"He wanted to be my husband, so I took him to be with me."
Luang For Noi let out a long sigh, took a step forward, and spoke to older Brother Sommai, who was standing with legs apart, hands on hips, ready for a confrontation. The monk spoke slowly and clearly.
Listen, spirit of Tanee, you are a celestial being, awaiting rebirth into a higher, better realm. Do not let the foolishness of ignorant humans, their recklessness and arrogance, pull you away from the noble rebirth that awaits you. Forgive their ignorance, forgive their recklessness. I, as a monk, humbly beg for the life of this man.
All of us saw it clearly. The naked body of older Brother Sommai slowly dropped his hands from his waist, then sank down to sit on the ground, and finally bowed, to pay homage to Luang For Noi, lying prostrate, motionless. Then the monk turned to us and said,
All right, help carry Mai back home.
So we all moved in together to lift older Brother Sommai's body and carry him back to the house. My father and the village chief escorted the monk back to the temple afterward. My father and the village chief took the monk back to the temple, and when my father returned, he told us,
Tomorrow, prepare food and desserts to offer to the spirit of the Tanee. And once Sommai is fully conscious, take him to apologize properly.
Those were Luang Fornoi's instructions. So we followed everything, just as the monk advised. After that, everything became peaceful. Nothing strange happened again. And I truly believe that if we hadn't invited Luang Fornoi that night, we would never know how terrible things could have gotten. As for older Brother Sommai, from that day on, he became quiet, no longer reckless or mischievous like before. I guess the experience that night scared him deeply enough to keep him changed for a very long time. Drawn by BikiBaam. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, so you won't miss any of our new creative clips. Support our art journey with a super thanks. See you again in the next clip. Coming soon!